The DNC is coming up sooner than we know. I bet in a matter of months it will be here. And are Chicago police ready? With that, more on that, let's welcome back to the program our good friend John Cantanzara, FOP President, all around good guy. He might run for mayor next time, maybe, we hope.
Should have ran this time.
I know. Good morning, John. How are you?
Living the dream. Good morning.
Oh, yes, yes. All right, so we're not, but we're going to blink and August is going to be here, believe it or not. And are Chicago police ready for what's about to transcend upon this wonderful city of Chicago?
Well, I can only prepare as much as you can prepare. I don't know that anybody's going to be technically ready for what could possibly be here given the circumstances in the world right now.
Right. Let's talk about those pro-Palestinian protests that have shut down Lakeshore Drive. They shut down I-90. They shut down, the Stevenson last weekend. So why are police just standing there doing nothing and not arresting them?
Well, there's nothing in writing or email, not surprisingly, but from all we've been told, they're pretty much just unwritten order to not engage unless you absolutely have to, which was not the state police's, thank God, mandate when they took action on I-55 2 weeks ago, I believe it was.
Yeah. And they rounded people up, or did they take them? Did they impound their cars, or what did they do?
Well, there was clear video of them absolutely engaging protesters who were blocking the northbound lanes, I believe, of 55 and making arrests. Kind of like the Eddie Johnson, fiasco, but different.
Remind me of the Eddie Johnson fiasco.
Oh, it's the 3-year anniversary of the city trying to fire me, and that was one of the 2 cases that they tried to do it on. Eddie Johnson, Flagler, Jesse Jackson all decided that in the name of anti-violence, they had the ability to break state and federal law by blocking commerce and shutting down traffic.
Oh, that's right. That's when they took over the Dan Ryan.
Correct.
I remember that well. All right, so you've been at City Hall last week, and you're going again this week. How's that going?
Well, it's kind of befuddling, but not shocking, I guess. The reality is these elected officials swore an oath to uphold the Illinois Constitution. They have an absolute obligation to do just that, and that means they need to ratify the second part of the contract for arbitration for termination cases. They don't really have an option here. They have routinely, several of them, publicly said, we know this is a loser, but this is basically a moral fight that we have to fight in violation of their oath. They were gutsy enough to verbally say no in violation of their oath the first time, and then last week they took the coward's way out at the behest of the mayor, I'm sure, where they tried to avoid a vote knowing that is going to court Wednesday afternoon this week. My guess is they just want to have the judge enforce the award because they know that's where we're headed with it, so they don't have to do it themselves because they want to do the easy thing and not the right thing.
Wow. What's going on with you, John? How's life, man?
Man, you'll be the first to know. No.
Superintendent Snelling, though, same as the old, or is he really trying to implement changes, especially to help with morale with the Chicago Police Department?
No, he's certainly not more of the same. That's for certain. I have a great line of communication with him. We have regular conversations about issues that I have. I know he has given, kind of a standing edict that, if the FOP, is looking for, some information or some cooperation, we need to try and make these things work better for everybody involved. Because they know at the end of the day, it's about the men and women protecting this city.
Yeah. Has he gotten rid of the no chase policy, things that have hampered policing?
No, he has not gotten rid of that yet, but that's going to be a collaborative effort with the Community Commission on Policing and Accountability also. They have the ability to affect policy. I think one of the things that seems to be odd is that there still is not a first deputy, which is the number 2 spot.
Yeah.
I mean, we're 7 months in now, and I know there's whispers all over the place between a shakeup in the department. I think it may be based on possible allegations and indictments for PPP loans, which, every other there's been rumors floating around about several high-ranking Chicago police officers who basically stole government money. And if the names are true, couldn't happen to some nicer people, but including one person at Internal Affairs who has had one corrupt scandal after another. She's supposedly on the list of thieves too. But
can you say names?
I think everybody can figure out who that was.
Oh, a female. Yes, I have a very good idea who you're talking about. So do you think on
like
Wednesday they'll
loan out cars to drug dealers, those kind of people.
Oh, yes. Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also a DJ possibly too on the side. Because
no, that was the former first deputy's wife, a medical role abuser who hid and didn't do an honest day of work in her life while she was doing DJing on the side.
Oh my gosh! And wasn't she on disability at the time too, or something?
Yeah, rode it all the way out into retirement because that's just the Chicago way.
Chicago way.
Oh my gosh!
With the blessing of her crooked husband.
Do you know of any? Are they doing any certain training to get ready for the DNC in August? I mean, we're going to have, if this keeps up, we're going to have probably 100,000 illegal immigrants living probably outside in tents, because if you live in a tent, guess what happens? You can take this government subsidies that they give you and send that money to your family back home to bring up even more people. We're going to have that. And then I don't think that the Palestinian-Israeli war is going to be resolved by then either.
It's a beautiful city and time we live in, isn't it?
Yeah.
The training-wise, I don't really have any doubt that we will be formally trained, properly. There's a couple different training sessions, a 2-day and a 4-day, depending on, where you're expected to be deployed during that convention, similar to what NATO and G8 did. So the T's crossed, I's dot, not a problem. But I think the unknown is what's going to be the issue here. How raw tensions are with the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. And the Democratic Party is such a one-trick pony, abortion. They're going to come here screaming about abortion, even though you can literally abort a baby at 9 months right before their last breath in the womb in this state. That's still okay. So why they're coming here to make abortion a crazy issue is going to be beyond me. But that's just another whole group of people. The Midwest is going to be an interesting time in July and August between Milwaukee and Chicago, that's for sure.
Hey, John, let's talk about the shooting at Innovation School. What was that about? Because that seemed like that was a hit. I saw
it was execution.
Yeah,
man.
an execution. What's going on with that? What's the latest with that?
I'd be speculating at best, but I think your description of an execution is absolutely accurate. We see this quite frequently, where the graduation, pictures come out about how good this boy or girl was, and then the stories and social media pictures come out of quite a different story.
They were holding guns,
drugs, Yep. So, I don't know. There's talks about that car being used in other crimes. So whether they were associated, I don't know.
The getaway vehicle that they're looking at, this Infiniti QX50, they believe was involved in that smash and grab at the Prada store, remember, on 30 East Oak Street earlier in January. And then there was a shootout with a cop. The cop got shot and the offender got shot. So they're thinking that may be part of that. But the two victims who died, I've never seen this. This video was so graphic because they didn't run to nobody was applying pressure to the wound or giving them chest compressions. Everybody was standing there with their iPhones out and not helping. There was one guy who helped. One kid.
One guy was looking like he was trying to figure out what to do again. But the thing that kind of sticks in my head is literally the brazenness it took to go into downtown Chicago in the middle of the afternoon, get out of your car, and just go up and execute 2 kids. And whenever we find out who this offender is or how old they are, it's just the reality of the mindset of criminals today, that it's a progression of I can do whatever I want. This is Grand Theft Auto. This is Gotham. Kim Fox's legal and Tim Evans' legal, justifications for everything in this county has literally made it a lawless land. And that just is a highlight of just what the criminal's mindset is right now. There is no consequences for what I want to do.
Wow.
All right, we're going to have to leave it there.
Who wakes up thinking that afternoon, I'm going to go do this and not think this is insane? There's no way I can get away with this. But that's not what they think anymore.
Right,
Wow.
and there are 27 rounds fired, and they clearly hit their targets.
Yeah.
And it's just so, one kid, I'm just going to say their names, Roberto Boston, 16 years old, and Monterio Williams, he was 17 years old, and they were walking out of their high school. So,
well, I will just say, as important as the DNC is to keeping this city intact, shortly thereafter is an election that's probably more important than even the mayor's race was, and that's for a new Cook County State's attorney. And I hope everybody takes it as seriously as possible.
who are you backing? Is there anybody that you're looking at or interviewing?
The reality is there's only 2 candidates. They're both a step up. One's a bigger step up than another. But one of the interesting things I found personally, this isn't an FOP endorsement because we haven't publicly did that yet, but was at a Michigan Avenue Retail Association. So all the merchants and all the hotel owners, general managers were at this forum where both candidates spoke for 45 minutes. And they were both very good in their presentation. I think one was clearly better than another because the reality is Clayton Harris prefaced it by saying, I know who I'm speaking to in this audience right now before I say this, but agreed that Kim Fox's $1,000 shoplifting threshold should be the felony threshold in violation of statute. He basically agreed to perpetuate that policy that has just ruined businesses in the downtown Chicago. And he literally said it out loud. I give him credit for his honesty.
Right.
But, that alone should scare the hell out of everybody that it's going to be more of the same.
Wow. So are you guys going to endorse a candidate later on, like when we get closer to the election?
Yeah, well, ballots will be going out next week. Our early ballots go out next week, so we're here. The primary is upon us, so that's pretty much the race. The Republican, I personally love Bob Fioretta, but a snowball's got a better chance with Satan.
Okay.
John.
All right. Thanks, John Cantanzara. We're going to leave it there for today. FOP President, good friend of the show. Thank you so much for joining us, John.
Take care, bud.
Thanks.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer.